All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome. Dinothor, thanks for resub, appreciate that. We're doing my cube sleeving stream. What's that mean? It means I'm sleeving every card in my cube while I discuss the cards in my cube, cube design philosophies, answer questions. It's been a lot of fun so far. I did white, blue, black, red, and green. It is a Legacy Plus cube, about 520-ish cards. Goal is to have very high power levels, super low mana curve, super competitive decks, but no stupid cards. No Channel, no Black Lotus, no cards that make for one-sided games. And I want to hear more about that. Go to the first video on YouTube in white. I go over the cube as a whole a little bit. I'm also going to do some cube content on coolstuffinc.com in article form as well. So we did black, blue, white, red, green. Now we're doing the multicolored cards, all right? And the multicolored section in my cube and the color section of a land section are perhaps the most interesting. Multicolor especially, because there's a lot of cards in the multicolored section that aren't actually multicolored cards, or vice versa, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go right in and start with Azorius here. And our first card... Wait, what?
Somebody's playing a prank on me.
That's not a multicolored card. It's an artifact, Jim. Well, it's Talisman of Progress. Now, no signets in my cube. No signets in my cube. We have, I have talismans instead. Why is that? Two reasons. One, talismans are better with 1-mana spells, and there are a lot of 1-mana spells in my cube. So I can go turn 2 Talisman of Progress, and then I can tap the talisman for white and mana tithe your turn 2 play. Signets can't do that. Okay, that's part number one. Part number two is that the talismans are a little worse against aggro decks than signets are. And the goal is to keep aggro competitive while allowing the ramp stuff that's happening to not be as good. So that's why it's talismans over signets. And there isn't every talisman. There are only some talismans in the artifacty colors, not in every color. So blue-white gets talisman, we'll see that. So Talisman Progress is a blue-white card. Hashtag deal with it. We had Geist of Saint Draft, trying to give, again, a little more aggro stuff to blue. Obviously, a card you usually see splash into a white aggro deck. But splashing blue into white aggro is great. Splash for, like, you know, Memory Lapse, Mana Leak, Geist, Brazen Borrower, Opposition. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, love Geist a lot. Good variety card. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. And, yeah, it's great. Spell Queller, same idea. Same idea. So trying to allow blue to do more things and just be a control card. Spell Queller, another awesome card. A lot of low mana cards in my cube. Awesome flash card. Love Spell Queller, just a great card. And again, you can definitely draft the tempo deck on my cube. Absolutely. And Spell Queller's there. Now, I do keep my Planeswalkers kind of light. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on. But power level is important in my cube, and we want to have the highest power level possible. And again, because the mana curve is so low, and because most decks are very proactive and aggressive, Planeswalkers aren't as good on average as they are in other cubes. So I have both copies of Teferi in my cube because they're both very, very good. Again, there's no, you know, the goal of my cube is to be competitive and powerful. So we have the most powerful cards that are still interactive. And yeah, Teferi's really good. I don't know what to tell you. You know, also it's kind of cool because there's some blink synergies. You can bounce your own stuff, which is kind of cool. And Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, I do love this card. I played Teferi a lot. It's a great control card, and you know, you want to have some cards that are just pure control cards. So I like it. I like Teferi. No secret layers. No, I don't like those old style anythings. Those are too ugly for me. And then Sphinx's Rev. I love Sphinx's Rev. It's a good payoff for your big mana decks, and just a really cool card. Look at this thing. Look at this freaking thing. This thing has drawn so many freaking cards. Love it. Love it. So, that's your 6 multicolored blue-white Azorius cards. We're going to move right along here. There are 6 multicolored cards in each color pair. And moving on to Dimir now. We have Belvastrix, super great card. Obviously a very good card in general, but also artifacts are a big thing in my cube, so Belvastrix is obviously very, very good. Blue also gets a Talisman and Talisman of Dominance. And I like how this Talisman is not from Mirrodin. In Mirrodin, they changed the printing. So this mana symbols in the box were black and white, not in color. I hate it, but there's no other version of this talisman. But Talisman of Dominance has the color in it because it's from some commander or anything. So we got Talisman. We got a weird one here in Limdul's Vault. This is basically just a 2-mana instant speed demonic tutor. Good for combo decks. Real fringe card. Can definitely not be in the cube. It's a lot to read. Basically, you just like cast it. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. If the card you want isn't there, pay 1 life and just do it again until the card is there. And it's cool. That's cool. My sidebar's going too fast here. Spoiling some cards. Thief of Sanity, awesome card. Really fun cube card. Again, a good sort of aggressive, disruptive card. Good card to splash in your black aggro deck. Same idea. You're playing your Blood Gas and your Grave Crawlers, and you splash blue for Thief of Sanity Mana Leak. Super awesome. So, love Thief of Sanity. Super cool card. We got Prized Amalgam, which is almost like not a Dimir card, because you can just play it in any deck as a graveyard card, but super awesome graveyard card. Again, all about synergy. Not every deck wants this card, but the ones that do want it bad, and love Prized Amalgam. Love the card, love the graveyard synergies. I'm all about it. Not every Planeswalker is going to be a busted Planeswalker. We have Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, and this is a pure synergy Planeswalker. This card does nothing, you're not artifacts in your deck, but there are a ton of artifacts in my cube, and it's a great payoff for playing artifacts. It draws cards, it makes threats. Again, Planeswalkers in my cube, there's a few ones that are just good, but most of the ones that aren't just good, I want to look like this. They're synergy cards, they're fun cards. I love Tezzeret, he's great. Moving on to Rakdos, Terminate. You gotta kill things. Really, just a good card. Not much to say about Terminate. Nice old beat up Terminate. And speaking of good cards, we get Kolaghan's Command. Just another good card. Not much to say about it, just a great card. Killing artifacts important in my cube. And then we have some interesting ones. All right, we have Fulminator Mage. For a while, the goal in multicolored section was to be at least 5 gold cards, and then 1 card that was your hybrid, or I'm gonna back this up a little bit. We're getting spoiled here a little bit. Sorry. No spoilers. 1 hybrid card, or artifact card, or flashback card, or some card that's a little easier to cast than just a gold card. So it's like 5 multicolored cards, because a hybrid card is very different than a gold card. You can play Kolaghan's Command only in a red-black deck. You can play Fulminator Mage in your black-white deck. You can play it in your red-green deck. So trying to keep flexibility. Too many gold cards is a problem, because you end up with cards people just can't play. So, yeah. Lost LD. I'm all about LD. Obviously, you can Revel Arc it. Do some cool stuff, too. Is Field of Inhead in the cube? We'll find out. We'll find out. Then we have Daretti. And again, I'm not huge on Planeswalkers, but I love the synergy ones. And Daretti is really, really cool. It's a commander card or something like that. Makes constructs. You can sack an artifact to kill things. Again, another cool artifact synergy card. There's a ton of artifacts in my cube. When you get to the color selection, you'll understand. But super cool synergy card. Not every deck wants it, but pretty fun card. I like it. I like it. Then we have Unlicensed Disintegration. A card that's a little bit on the edge. But again, a lot of artifact stuff in my cube. And artifact aggro is definitely a deck. And this card is very, very powerful. So we'll see. This is a card that's kind of on the fringe. There's some cards that are just kind of like on the maybe list. And this is definitely a bit of a maybe. But not the worst thing to cast as a murder if you really need a murder in your deck. And then obviously for an artifact deck, it's really, really cool. So that's Disintegration. And then our last Rakdos card. Our last Rakdos card is one that I like a lot. There's a lot of sacrificey stuff happening in red-black. And Falkenrath Aristocrat is a great, great curve topper. Unbelievably powerful card. Unbelievably powerful card. Curve topper, sacrifice outlet, super hard to kill. Aristocrat's awesome. And again, it's really, really good in those sort of like aristocrat decks. Big fan of this card. Big fan of this card. No Bedevil, too hard to cast. You gotta be careful with your cards like that. It's just too hard to cast, I think. So, love Aristocrat. Love Aristocrat. Now we're moving on to Gruel. And Gruel is pretty interesting. So there are a number of cards in the Gruel color pair that aren't multicolored. So, first up is Curd Ape. The classic. The OG. And obviously Curd Ape is a red card. You know, you don't need green to play it. But obviously you need green to make it good. So Curd Ape's the kind of card that fits that mold of like, this is a, you know, an easier to cast multicolor card. So Curd Ape is an all-time classic, obviously. Super great card. Freaking love me some Curd Apes. And again, Beatdown is totally supported in my cube. In all Magic Online cubes, it's not supported because all it is removal spells and 5-drops, but super supported. Get your Curd Ape down, wasteland them, and get your Tangle Wire out, and let's freaking go. You love Curd Ape. The other red 1-drop is a very exciting one here in Orcish Lumberjack. This card is freaking awesome. 1 mana for a 1/1. Tap to sack a forest to add 3 mana in any combination of red or green. So, turn 1 Lumberjack, turn 2 you can play a land and play a 5-drop. You gotta sack a land, but super cool card. Explosive, fun, powerful ramp card at a cost. I love this card. Super, super fun card. Love it. Super cool. The art's fun too. I don't know why it was an AT-AT with a razor blade on it, but I guess. Moistical Tutor says, I thought you said you didn't have Black Lotus in the cube. Yep, there it is. Black Lotus. Lumberjack. We also get Manamorphose. Again, I know I keep saying there's like these subset of cards that are like really, really important in my cube that aren't in most cubes. This is one of them. Manamorphose is a great storm card, a great graveyard filler, a great prowess card. It's a great piece of glue to hold your deck together that makes your deck more than a deck, or more than a pile of cards. It makes it into a deck. Manamorphose is phenomenal. This card is good enough to be banned in Modern, you know, so super, super powerful card, super awesome card. And yeah, again, this is the kind of card that makes my cube what it is. Love it. Love it. It is a Gruel card. It's, again, the goal is to have at least 1 or 2 hybrid cards in each color pair. Doesn't always happen, but up next we have Red and 6. The card's way too good. This is a proxy because I actually own a box of Modern Horizons. I haven't opened it yet. We're gonna draft it at some point, and it's just too expensive and cool stuff is sold out. So pronounce proxy, but Red and 6 is too good not to have in. You know, there's no Manage Rain's not in because it's like actually just broken. But cards that are just like really, really good but a little bit annoying are still in the cube. Red and 6 is a really cool card. It's very powerful. And again, Planeswalkers are easier to pressure in my cube. So the old Red and 6 is in there. Not 7 yet. We got Bloodbraid Elf. Obviously an all-time an absolute classic. Great card. Great card. And then we have Escape to the Wilds. Now, super, super cool card. Obviously a fine card draw spell for your ramp deck, but a great combo card too. Again, you have Heartbeat Spring in play, you Escape the Wilds, draw a bunch of cards, play another land. It's a really cool lands card too, if you play extra lands. So, love Escape to the Wilds. I'm sorry, my hand is shaking. I'm trying to like hold it up. But, love this card. Super, super cool card in the cube. Very powerful, very fun. Not every deck wants it. Just all the things I like in cube. All about it. All about it. Up next, we have Selesnya. And if we have Curd Ape, you gotta have Loam Lions here, right? You can't have one without the other. So we have Loam Lion here, and same idea, just super solid, aggressive green white creature, easy to cast, etc., etc. Do I have big hands? Maybe, I don't know. So we got Loam Lion. We have Qasali Pride Mage. Killing artifacts and enchantments very important, obviously. Solid 2-drop. It's a flexible card. Flexible card. A lot of the green white cards are focused on killing artifacts and enchantments and just being good creatures. So Pride Mage is great. There's no Nerd Ape. I actually cut Nerd Ape. It was a last second cut. I initially, when I first updated my cube, maybe about a month or two ago, I actually increased the size of each section from 55 to 60. But after playing with it a few times, I went back down to 55, and I got cut. So yeah, solid Pride Mage. Kitchen Banks, bit of a relic of older days as far as power level goes, but still a good card. Still a good card. Just super fine card. We got Knight of Autumn, great cube card, super flexible. It can gain life against aggro decks. It can be a decent sized creature on average. It can kill artifacts and enchantments. Super flexible cube card. It's great. A card that might push Qasali Pride Mage out of the cube eventually for more green white cards, but awesome cube card. Awesome cube card. Then we have Knight of the Reliquary, and a card that I'm not a huge fan of, but it is really cool. In that awesome Golgari Graveyard deck I had on Sunday, I actually splashed this card off one Temple Garden, and it was awesome. My graveyard was getting full, and it was really, really good. So Knight's obviously a really cool card. A cool card, and it's fine by itself, but also good in the lands decks too. So like Knight a lot. And then we have Mirari's Wake, which is a bit of a relic from past days, but it's another mana flare effect for your combo decks. It's just a powerful card. It's a card that could definitely be something else. Gaddock Teeg was in my cube for a while, but I think that the Wake's good enough. I think the Wake's good enough. Mana flare effect's pretty good. No Dryad Militant. It was in the cube for a long time, but doesn't really do enough, I don't think. So there's plenty of Savannah lands in the cube now. There didn't used to be, but now there is. So yeah, this thing is beat. Mirari's Wake's been cast a lot. Again, it's a World Championship card, which is kind of cool. So Mirari's Wake. That's Selesnya. Now we're moving on to the enemy colors. First up is Orzhov. And got some cool ones in here. Tidal Skeller. Obviously, black-white sort of like aggro is kind of a thing. And it's a zombie, which is kind of cool as well. It's an artifact, which is kind of cool. These things all matter. And again, these kind of things that like the little things that add up and make drafts more interesting are great. You know, if Tidal Scholar was an administrator and it wasn't an artifact, it'd be a lot less interesting. Because there's artifact themes in my cube, because there's zombie themes in my cube, these things all sort of add up as blink themes in my cube. So it isn't relevant all the time. But when you're drafting and you have that ephemerate in your pile, you're like, maybe I want this Skull or whatever. So Skull is really cool. Super great card. Definitely a good disruptive aggro card. We've got, what we got here? We have Ashton Ryder, one of the few like pure reanimation targets. A little weird because like it's in Orzhov's section, but like you're not gonna cast it very often, which is like a little weird. A lot of the multicolored cards, the placing of them in your cube is a little weird, but yeah. I mean, where else is it gonna go? So Ashton Ryder, super awesome reanimations target, obviously. We got a really fun one here in General Kudro of Dranith. Now, of course, as I said, humans is the one big tribal theme in the cube, and zombies is the small secondary theme, and there are no other tribal themes. And this card's really freaking good. The most humans in the cube are in white and black, mostly in white. And then a little bit of graveyard hate, kind of the the hate bear sort of idea of the human deck fits really well here. It's a lord. Sack 2 humans, can kill stuff, also kind of cool. Just a super solid card. I like it a lot. Kind of a unique card, but again, kind of a build around card. Not every deck wants it, etc., etc. That's kind of cool. We got Vindicate, just classic good card. Nothing really crazy here, just a really good card. That's that. And then we got Lingering Souls, which of course is a white card, but goes in the multi-card section because you're usually playing it in a white-black deck. Sort of like the same idea as Kitchen Finks, where you can play it in a mono-white deck, but it's better if you're white and black. So that's the same idea as that. So that's Lingering Souls. And our last Orzhov card is Lotus of a Dream Den. Now, as of right now, you can companion this card in my cube, which will probably be the case all the time. You know, no one's done it yet. I haven't done that many cubes with this cube yet, but it should be a pretty easy thing to do in my cubes, because my curves are so low. So we'll see. I consider putting this card in the cube and just sharpieing off the companion ability and just making it like played straight up. I don't hate the card. You gotta understand, like, there are cards in this cube that are annoying, right? But just because the card's annoying and constructed doesn't mean it's not a fun card for your cube. Lurrus is annoying in Modern because every deck plays it. In a cube, there's only one Lurrus. You know, like, there's only one Mistress Bauble. So for now, you can companion it. I think it's very possible in my cube, like very, very possible. But I'd like to see it. More research is needed, but I think Lotus is pretty cool. Honestly, Lotus is pretty cool as just a card to just play in your deck too. That's pretty cool. So that's Orzhov. Moving on to Izzet. Iteration is awesome. Just as awesome it is in every other format, Iteration is super, super cool. I've seen it played in multiple decks already. It's just great. Just a really, really good card. Super, super power. Super powered. Super powerful card. Fire Ice, love it. This kind of fulfills that, that one hybrid slot in the multi-card section of a card that can be played in multiple decks. Fire Ice is obviously super awesome. Love this card in Modern now. I'm very, very sad they changed the rules. Ice Crown Scepter is no longer in the cube. Yeah, I know. I'm sad too. But you can't put Sun Scepter anymore. But yeah, so Fire Ice is great. We got Sprite Dragon. Obviously, tons of prowess stuff in the cube. Sprite Dragon is perfect for that. So, prowess can be blue-red. It can be red-white. It can be mono-red. It can be a lot of things. And Sprite Dragon is one of the best 2-drops. For a long while, the Izzet section was pretty bad, honestly. But it's gotten some really good cards lately. So, that's Sprite Dragon, which is great. Electrolyze is still in the cube. I just freaking love this card. You can see how well loved this card is. Love Electrolyze. It's been in the cube forever. And it's still a good card. It's still a good card. Good card draw, good removal. You can still be a control deck in my cube. You don't have to be like some crazy combo deck or something like that. So, just some good solid cards. And then of course, Izzet gets Talisman because it's a artifact color. So Talisman's over Signets. I already explained that. And our last Izzet card is a really fun one. Our last Izzet card is 1,000 Year Storm, and this is just a fun combo card. It's a little easy compared to like trying to have Storm deck, but it's fun. I had a 1,000 Year Storm deck on Sunday. It was a lot of fun. So cool card. Again, not a card everyone wants, but a very powerful, fun card, which is super cool. And again, the goal in the cube is to draft decks. And 1,000 Year Storm is definitely a deck. Is definitely a deck. So that's it. Moving on to Golgari. And Golgari will open up with Deathrite Shaman, obviously one of the best creatures of all time. And very, very good card, obviously. Just super, super powerful, super, super great. The old Deathrite Shaman, easy game. Not too much to talk about there. We have Assassin's Trophy, which is honestly a pretty overrated card, I think, in like Modern and stuff like that. But I think in Cube, the flexibility is super, super valuable. Being able to kill a Tabernacle, it can kill a Planeswalker, it can kill a creature. You know, just a very, very flexible card. And I'm about it. I'm about it. I actually cut Abrupt Decay from the Golgari section and Maelstrom Pulse. I think Trophy is the best one for Cube, personally. So the drawback is certainly super real, but the flexibility is very important too. We have a new addition here in Grist, the Hunger Tide. And this card has been freaking awesome in everything I've ever played it in. I love this card. Super, super cool card. It being a creature can matter. It can not matter. You can Green Sun Zenith for it. You can Company for it. I reanimated it once. It was super cool. And then it also just fills your graveyard. It does a lot of what the black cards already want to do, which is put fodder in play, sacrifice creatures, and fill the graveyard. So it's a great, great card. Super awesome synergy card. I love it. Just super, super awesome card. I'm all about Grist the Hunger Tide. Great, great addition to the cube. Very, very happy with it. Then we have Pernicious Deed. It's a classic Golgari card here, and still good enough. I had a really good deed against black-white humans in the draft on Sunday, which is great. Still love me some Deed. It's also good against the artifact decks too. And then we have the Gaxter, and another card that's a great, great card in my cube. It's a very powerful card. It requires a lot of work. You keep seeing this over and over again. You see this busted, you're like, oh my god, Oath of Druids. Oh my god, Hogak. But these are cards that aren't just like, you know, Black Lotus or Mana Drain. They're cards that require work to be good. When you put the work in, Hogak's really, really good, but you had to put the work in deck building. So, love Hogak in the cube. I had an awesome graveyard deck on Sunday. It was so much fun. I'm a huge, huge fan of Hogak in the cube. I think it's really, really fun. It's great. It's not as hard to do as you would think if you look at the black section. You know, there's, you know, Dread Wanderer, Gravecrawler, Stitcher Supplier, etc., etc. So, it's there. It's not super easy, but it's there. And our last Golgari card is Grimflayer. Grimflayer's fine. It definitely is kind of an interesting card. It's kind of weird because there are very few actual Delirium cards in the cube, so you're like sort of building towards something that's like not very common. This could be Abrupt Decay, I think, possibly. But I'm still on Flare. Also, filling your own graveyard's a big deal in Golgari. So still Flare. The link's in chat. You gotta type in !Gymcube. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the description. So that's Golgari. Moving on to Boros. So moving on to Boros.
Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god!
That's all I got to say about that. Easy game. Easy game. We have Chained to the Rocks. Kind of a cool one. Obviously not exactly a Boros card, but it is a card that requires you to play Boros. Good kill spell. Good kill spell. Also kind of vulnerable, which is kind of cool too. So kind of a fun card. Kind of a fun card in Chained to the Rocks. Flexible removal spell. We got Vigor of Destiny. Again, not much I need to say here. Just a very good 1-drop. You can play it in your mono red deck, play it in your mono white deck. Just a solid card. Coolpan says, I like having mechanically unique cards in my multicolored section. It feels like a waste to have a multicolored Doomblade to take up a bunch of my spots. I sort of agree and disagree. I feel like my multicolored sections are about half and half. Because honestly, my cube's about half and half. You know, there are some Lightning Helixes. There are some cards like that are just good. You just want them in the multicolored section. But there's cards like Grist and Chained to the Rocks and Hogak that are more synergy-based cards you build around. So we have Vigor of Destiny. But then our next card is Nahiri the Harbinger, which is more of like a combo card. You know, so Nahiri is a cool Planeswalker. Obviously, mostly commonly used to sneak attack out big, huge fatties. So, again, the mixture of some cards are just good, but a lot of cards require some work to be good. So Nahiri is pretty cool in that regard. You can Nahiri out Emrakul or other big things. You can play it as Planeswalker. It fills the graveyard. Does a lot of cool stuff. While also being a flexible removal spell too, which is kind of nice. We got Showdown of Skalds. Obviously, the card's super awesome. This card's played really, really well. Just a really, really powerful card. Especially with the curve of the cube being so low. It's very easy to cast all your spells. Very easy to cast all your spells, which is great. And then our last Boros card is Winona, Joiner of Forces. And kind of a weird one, but honestly a card that is really, really cool. There are a lot of humans in the cube. There are a lot of non-humans in the cube. And this is a powerful way for Boros to get card advantage. It's a 4/4 for 4, which is like obviously fine. It's a cool curve topper. It makes your drafting experience pretty interesting. Like, do I take this human or not human? And then it's not like this card needs to put in Agent Treachery to be good. If you just get like a free, you know, Elite Spellbinder off it or whatever, that's good. You know, or a free Grimflay or whatever it is, you know. That's great. So my cube seems weighted towards creatures over non-creatures. There's a good amount of creatures in the cube for sure. For sure. You know. So that's Winona, which is awesome. Moving on to Simic. Listen, it's meant to be a competitive, powerful cube. All right. Oko is probably one of the best cards in the cube. I'm not at a point where I'm willing to cut Oko based on like fun or power level concerns. It's a possibility, but again, my cube is very low curve. It's very aggressive. It's much easier to keep Planeswalkers in check in my cube and other cubes. And there are also a lot of ways to kill Planeswalkers too. So, is Oko too much for my cube? Maybe. It has been cast a lot already. You know, it hasn't been ridiculous. It has been very good, obviously. So, the question is still up in the air. I'm not willing to say either way, but it's still a very powerful card. It makes artifacts, which is kind of cool. So, for now, Oko's in the cube. I do think Oko is one of the cards that could eventually be cut because it's just not fun. But again, the goal of my cube is to be powerful and competitive. And what's more powerful and competitive than Oko, right? It's still an interactive card. You still play Magic with it. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, part of the reason why it eliminates in the cube, you know, there's Eliminate, there's Assassin's Trophy. There's plenty of ways to kill it directly, which is important. But we shall see. We shall see. Again, one of the few cards I'm not entirely sure about when it comes to just raw power level. So, we got Charlotte's Agent. Card's super cool. Oko is by far the best Planeswalker ever printed. I agree. I agree. So, Sharpie and +1 and -1. I'm not willing to do that. I think that if you're going to make custom cards or alter cards, it just feels fake. It doesn't feel real anymore, you know? The one thing I considered doing for a while, I'll do that in lands. I'll discuss that in lands. So we got Charles Agent. We got a classic here in Trigon Predator, just the OG. Great card. Very artifact heavy cube, very powerful card. We got the old Trigon Predator. Let's did it stop again? It did stop again. Sorry. And we got, oh man, these Simic cards. These Simic cards. Again, Uro, obviously very, very good. Kind of annoying, but it's a powerful card. I had it in my ramp deck. You know, again, these are cards that you see them and your initial reaction is visceral, because you're used to standard or whatever. But like, again, imagine Uro not alongside, you know, Fervent Champion and Luminarch Aspirant. Imagine Uro alongside Wasteland and, you know, Noble Hierarch, Dark Confidant, and all these cards and so on and so forth. So, again, I think Uro is just fine. I don't think Uro is like Oko, where it's like, you know, whatever. The decks in my cube are pretty fast usually, but that's fine. We also have Talisman of Creativity. Blue is obviously an artifact color, so Talisman's fine. I like Uro. What's up, Robe? Appreciate it. Thanks so much. And then we have Hydra Crisis here as a nice big ramp payoff, big finisher. Been pretty good, honestly. I've liked it. Pretty fun card. It's fun to have a few big things to do. Most of the cards in my cube are kind of small, but having a few big payoffs is pretty nice. So Crisis is played very well. It's so funny how the Simic section of cubes used to be the hardest section to fill. It was like Mystic Snake, Temporal Spring, freaking, I don't even know, you know, like whatever. And now the Simic section is so ridiculous. So that's every color pair. But now there are 5 more multicolored cards in the cube that are kind of like wild cards. These 5 cards are 3 or more colors, and there's wild cards basically. So we have our first one here is Wild Nicotl. Even though I know it's a green card, it's effectively a 3-color card. It's a Naya card. So we have 1 Wild Decathlon, just a great 1-drop. Super cool, you know, Curd Ape adjacent kind of card. It's kind of fun. So we got Wild Decathlon. We have Siege Rhino. Everyone loves Siege Rhino, right? Just a classic. Just a fun $5 card to work on. So we got the Siege Rhino. We got Leovold, Emissary of Trust. Kind of an annoying card, but obviously very, very hard to cast. So it's worth the trouble, I think. And good card. Very, very powerful card. Again, a little bit annoying. But Leovold's pretty cool. Fun card to work towards. We've got Omnath, Locus of Creation. Again, I know it's kind of an annoying ban card in Standard, but you gotta understand this is a very powerful cube. So all the cards are very, very good. So there's Omnath, which has been pretty cool so far. Been pretty cool. And then our last multicolored card is Jeskai Ascendancy. And again, this is kind of a cool card. Could have gone with like Mantis Rider or something like that, which is a little more basic. But Ascendancy does a few things. It's kind of a cool card for token decks or for like Prowessy decks. It's also a possible combo card. You know, you get a Birds of Paradise in play, you get a Noble Hierarch in play, start playing cantrips. I haven't seen it happen yet, but I also haven't drafted much with this card in the cube. I'd like to see it happen. It's kind of fun. So this is, you know, a kind of card where it might be in the cube for a year, never get played and get cut, but I want to try it for now. It's a pretty fun card. It's a pretty cool card. Yeah, if you make your lands into creatures, sure. It's fun. It's a cool card. And not every card in the cube has to be, you know, Rock'em Sock'em Robots or whatever. So that's it. That's the multicolored cards. So we have a lot of exciting stuff to come up because the artifact section is huge and the land section is huge. A lot to discuss there, but that's it for the video so far. Stream folks, hang on to your butts. We got colors coming up next. YouTube folks, next video, like, comment, subscribe. Your comment of the day on YouTube is Oko, are you crazy? All right, thanks YouTube, I appreciate it. Y'all great. Colors coming up next.